Hey, welcome to this week's Midweek Howl, the non-paranormal part of the From the Shadows podcast. And with me, as always, is the mysterious yet lovely Ozark Howler. How was your weekend, Howler?
It's still going on.
Still going? Yeah, still
Yeah,
got
the wheels could come off of it any minute now.
the wheels could in the last couple hours. The wheels.
Yeah, that's all it takes is one bad phone call. I walk into my office every day. People, hey, good morning. How's your morning or something like that? I said, I don't know. Yeah, it's too early. And what the wrong one phone call can ruin the whole thing.
That's right. It's right. You don't want to commit to anything, I would
Mhm.
say. Um, I will say that we did have from last week's episode in which we discussed my good buddy Chris Hahn in his bidet. Okay. I'd like to say that we were going to get sponsored by a bidet company, but
Uh-huh.
they didn't. But one of the favorite things from that episode that we heard from fans were the Ohio wet rub that you described.
I don't wet rub anybody in Ohio. I'm married. What
But you described if I had made the comment, thank God that Chris did not um, use the bidet before he came down and made the food on the grill. And you said that would have been the Ohio wet rub. Well, people love that line. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe that we need to
we
come
need
out with,
barbecue sauce?
yeah, like a barbecue sauce or spice sauce, like our own brand. They call it the Ohio wet rub. Like what would go into that, do you think? Like what kind of
Love,
just love?
just love.
Just a lot of wet love for the
That's usually if it's wet enough, it's love by the end of it. I guarantee it. You know, better than that Memphis dry rub, I guess. Right? It'd be the opposite of that. You're in Ohio. You're
well, speaking of a little wet rub love, um, so last night, Christy's good friend Dawn came out with her mom, and her mom she's in her mid 70s, and she lost her husband and lost her son actually last year. Um,
hate to
s
hear that.
yeah, he was like a year younger than me, died, had a heart attack going out to his hunting blind with his
It
buddy.
happens. Well, at least he died doing what he loves, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. He was a great dude. He was a funny guy. So she's sitting out here and she's talking and she was just reminiscing. Okay. Because in our town was really and I'm sure every town was like this, but our town they took laps when I was in school, probably from the 50s all the way through on out of school
With cars.
with cars. You took laps up and
Yeah,
down.
it's changed a little bit now, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And last night, and so the cops at one time in the last 20 years put a stop to it, and they only tell you certain nights when you could take laps,
Yep.
okay, which
Yep.
is whatever. So, so we were going to take her
Communism. That's what it is. Plain and simple communism.
communism. Well, okay,
Hmm.
I whatever it is it's kind of ridiculous, but so we were going to take her uptown and just for fun in the suburban take a couple laps. Well, that got her reminiscent about all the times running around in the 60s when she was a teenager, and she's telling the story about this drive-through that I worked at actually when I was in college. It was around in the 60s, and she said they used to get this drink, and it's before your and my time.
Hmm.
Okay, they stopped making it before, and you and I are not. I've never had a drop of alcohol. I don't think you've drank more than.
I don't drink.
Yeah,
I had a toast at a funeral one time for a guy to get killed, but
there you go. But
mm,
this is something she said they used to drink. It was called Big Cat Malt Liquor, and I'm like, what? Like I've never heard of Big Cat Malt Liquor, and I looked it up and started doing some. It looks like motor oil in a can, and
yeah.
she said they would
Not
barely.
everybody can afford Colt 45 or some of them other ones.
Are you saying Colt 45 is a step up from the
Oh, I'm saying
big
I'm
cat?
saying the people that product malt liquors and menthol cigarettes or have a targeted audience back in the day, and they were not They were not kids that could afford better.
Oh my God. So so I looked at that, and the crazy thing is that some of these cans are like old cans. They're quite valuable for something I've never heard of. But it led me like to think like, what was some of the, since I've never drank alcohol, what are some of the worst things you ever had to drink?
Had to
And
drink.
just worst things you ever drank.
I'll tell you about the only cup of coffee I ever drank.
It was you didn't like coffee. You're not a coffee
I don't
guy,
drink coffee.
really?
My grandma wouldn't let us drink coffee when I was a little. She said it stunted your growth, made your kids born naked.
That was the old saying when I was a kid. Kids couldn't drink coffee because it would stunt our growth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So it must have worked because she was a little bitty and I'm great big.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, well, both my grandmas were itty bitty, and I'm way big, way
Yeah.
bigger. But
Why do you think that is?
I
Seed
don't,
oils, Bobby?
I don't know. My grandpas were both big guys, so I'm sure I got it honestly, But I wonder. I'd love to hear from any of our listeners that ever drank Big Cat Malt Liquor. I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of a
It's a
cool.
great name.
It is very plain can. It was white with a cat and with a cat on it. Um, but it reminded me of the worst thing I ever drank. Did you ever drink that Jolt Cola? Do you remember that?
No, but you're talking to somebody that I was blowing out a gas line the other day on cars with my kid, and I had gas in my mouth. So, I mean, I've had some shit in my mouth. So,
that happened once a week to my dad when we were growing up in the
yeah.
70s,
Did you
where
steal gas or what?
no, but we lived so far out in the country. I mean, we probably lived 10 miles outside of town.
Right.
If you needed to mow, like it would almost always happen when he needed to mow. Okay, he needed to mow or
So he would siphon gas out with the mower
siphon gas out of the car or the truck to put
for the
into the
mower.
mower, and he'd have this hose, and I could still see. There's my dad. My dad was bushy black hair and a big mustache, never wearing a shirt, and he had cut off blue jeans on. Typical 70s
Back
dude.
before people spent all this bullshit money on clothing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't have been wearing Crocs. I'm just going to tell you. Anyway, and he had that hose, and you he'd be sucking the gas, and he wouldn't get his mouth out in time. And he'd cuss and swear, be spitting, and rinsing his mouth out and stuff just to mow the just to mow the yard. When you're just like, dude, just take a 5-gallon gas can to work with you the next day, and mow the
Maybe
yard
he needed to
tomorrow.
get it done. Yeah, maybe he needed to get it done.
How bad does
He needs to
gasoline
work.
really taste?
Well, you don't drink it. What the problem is, it gets on your lips and your mouth, and you can't get it out for a while. So then
Oh,
everything you drink, you know what I mean? Everything. So you don't really drink it. Drink it.
but I mean, you could taste it. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What the problem is, it gets on your lips and your mouth, and you can't get it out for a while. So then
Oh,
everything you drink, you know what I mean? Everything. So you don't really drink it. Drink it.
but I mean, you could taste it. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, what I was gonna say is, I had Jolt. You remember Jolt Cola? It was
No.
came in like a pink. It looked like almost like Tab in the can, but it had like, oh my gosh, 5 or 6 times the caffeine of a Mountain Dew is what they kind of
Whoa.
claimed.
Is that legal?
Well, it's not I don't think it is anymore. But I remember we had a softball tournament. This was back in the day we played softball. We had a softball tournament on a Saturday morning, and me and my buddy had worked all night in Myers stocking shelves, and we couldn't go to And back then I wasn't drinking coffee, as I was still worried about stunting my growth. And so we went through the same drive-through where our friend's mom
Yep.
got her Big Cat Malt Liquor from 30 years earlier. And I got this Jolt Cola. And I kid you not, I took one drink and my heart started beating so fast and my head started spinning. I couldn't even take another drink. I mean, I thought it was going to kill me. And there was people that would drink that. That would drink cans of that. I don't know how it didn't. I mean, the young people at work today at the post office, they get all those stupid energy drinks, those monster
Yeah,
drinks.
I was just
I don't know how they do it. Like that stuff just it has to be pure like sugar, right?
I think it's got a whole bunch of stuff in it.
Ugh.
I mean, it's just not sugar was like in our time. They got all this other stuff, caffeine and some of that stuff, tree root and ginseng and no, listen to
Yeah, yeah,
some of
moss,
the some of the
ginkgo
some of the
biloba or stuff.
yeah,
Or
some of the commercials they mention all this crap, and I'm going, dude, the people I knew when I was growing up that had took that or ate that or had some of that stuff were in bad shape. They're not people that you wanted to mimic. Does that make sense?
yeah, the people that were off usually they were smoking tree roots and
Yes.
ginkgo biloba.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
they weren't
Exactly.
they were liquefying it and drinking it out of a neon pink can so they could make it through the day.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that God. And the other thing I drank that's always stuck with me that was bad is I cannot to this day drink eggnog because when I was a kid, I drank,
I love eggnog.
I know, but I drank an eggnog that probably, eggnog is usually bought and best drank in December. I think I drank an eggnog in May one time. And needless to say, it probably should have been thrown out in February. And I cannot bring myself to even smell eggnog. It just makes my stomach turn. And that had to be 45 years ago that happened. And I
That's the
still,
reason why you can't drive a diesel truck.
because I don't drink it.
Uh-huh.
Listen, I do not associate eggnog drinkers with diesel truck drivers. I don't
You
mean,
know, I'm just saying a man that can drive a truck ought to be able to handle his eggnog. So you got that's why you're that's why you're carrying the mail by hand instead of
listen, I guarantee you one thing: any guy who can drive a diesel truck can drink Big Cat Malt Liquor. I can tell you
well.
that. I'll bet that.
I you mean you said they could drive a diesel truck?
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's what we need to make a comeback. We need to make a comeback of the Big Cat Malt Liquor and make it a gift pack with the Ohio Wet Rub.
Well, I bet you there's been a lot of Ohio wet rubs given after that malt liquor, but so I don't see what the problem would be. They go hand in hand.
Now, speaking of that, around the corner, around the corner, we saw. So, we live way out. We live out in the country, but out here, there used to be an old truck stop at the corner of, Route 30 used to be, it was a 2-lane highway, but it was a main thoroughfare, like a major highway going east and west through Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it didn't go all the way through Illinois, through Indiana to Illinois or whatever, the
Okay.
Lincoln Highway. And so they since I've graduated high school, they've made it 4 lanes, and it's not, it's up 2-3 miles south of the old 2-lane highway. So, but there used to be the old truck stops and diners and stuff along the way. Well, back in the early 90s, somebody decided to put in an adult bookstore and a strip club called Fantasyland West, I think it's called. Even though I don't understand why it's Fantasyland West. I don't know what's west of, but or it might be Fantasy. I don't know if it's Fantasyland East. Either way, it's Fantasyland. I saw that. So there's just this strip club out in the middle of in Farmersville. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll go by it because I got to drive by it to go home. And there's like some nights there's like 20 cars in there.
Oh, I
And
thought you were going to tell me grain trucks and combines out there.
I'm not saying that there never was. Okay. And let me just tell you, over the years, some, farmers drive distinctive vehicles. Okay. You know that that's old man so and so because of his red, you know, double cab dually truck or,
Mhm.
whatever. And there would be a lot of familiar trucks parked out in that parking lot at this strip club over the years. And I see they're going out of business. They're closing up. Said thanks. The sign said thanks for 31 years. So I mean, it's bad, man. The strip club's going out. I'll have to. I'll get a picture of it and I'll put it. I'll get a picture of the sign as I drive by tomorrow morning to work, and I'll put it up there so we can kind of have like an in memoriam for the Fantasyland strip club. So there you go. Now I've
Nice.
never stepped foot in a strip club, so I don't know anything about them other than the stories my friends told. And no story they ever told sounded like it. It made me even more glad that I never had gone to a strip club, especially the one here. It
Right.
doesn't sound like it was a high class
So
of
it's
dick.
not. I think I I think strip clubs are a thing of the past, aren't they?
Wouldn't they? I mean, look, I remember when I was in college, the things that were really popular when you and I would have been in college in the towns were strip clubs and hot tub clubs.
Yeah. I don't know what a hot tub club is.
Well, there was this hot tub club in the Akron Canton area. Okay. And they had a job opening and I didn't know what it was. Okay. I didn't know what it was before I called. Um, but I called and I was like, hey, I want to apply. What do I need to do to apply for this job? And like, what's it entail? Well, then they described what this hot tub club was it was had a bunch of private rooms with hot tubs. So you so instead of going and maybe getting your oriental massage with a happy ending, you went to and got some relaxation in the hot tub with a lifeguard, so to speak, to make sure you didn't drown.
Are you
And
serious?
yeah, that's what the hot tub club. Like you didn't have any in Missouri or anywhere.
We don't have any hot tubs. Shit, we're so poor. If you want a hot tub, you had to fart in the tub. You
But
need
yeah,
bubbles.
so I ask, I'm like, so what's the job that? Well, you make sure, like, basically, you're the cleaning crew to go in and clean out the hot tubs once a week, but then you'd make sure all the
That would
towels.
sound absolutely terrible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding? Like, what do you give me a hazmat suit to go in and do that? Yeah, I can't believe you. I can't believe you in all your days you never came across a hot tub club.
I've never even. I mean, I don't even know how you'd market that to these hillbillies I live around.
What are you talking about? They got where did I say Wade was shooting a movie? Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Yeah, but that's a natural thing there.
Well, put up a steel fence around it and in a
Have you seen some
little.
of these pool? Excuse me. Have you seen some of these pool clubs down here? These pool parties, these bars, pools.
No, what's like in the
Google
Lake of the
Plus.
Ozarks for spring break or something?
You don't get in the lake if you're smart. I mean, I don't get in the lake.
Is it that bad?
I think it is, but that's just me. I mean, it's depends on what you. When I was a kid, I thought it was cool, but I want you to look up pool bars, Lake Ozarks,
Oh God, is this
Backwater
gonna?
Jacks, right here.
What's it called?
I'm looking at Backwater Jacks. I want to see how big his pool bar is. That's not that good of one, but go ahead and start with Backwater Jack.
Backwater Jack. So for
Yep,
all of our listeners, if you
hit
are
Backwater Jacks up.
Osage Beach, okay.
Yep, and click on it. And they got a little reel there. Watch
Oh,
that
they
sizzle
do.
reel. Just watch. I was gonna not do that Backwater Jack because I wanted to see a big one, and that was just Backwater Jacks.
This
I
is
don't think that's a big one.
this reel's from 5 years ago. Holy smokes!
Yeah, because we didn't close down for COVID. That's what made this would put us on the map.
That's a big pool, though. What are you talking about? The reel I'm looking at, that's a big pool. Holy smokes. It's got a marina?
Well, yeah, you're down here. Go to Dog Days. That's where my son worked.
So you're telling me, like, in this place, so this is essentially a big outdoor hot tub club.
Well, it's not a hot tub. It's not hot. It's yes, they got just big clubs. You can get your food delivered, your drinks delivered, you get whatever. Go to Dog Days and watch that one, and then we're going to change the subject because this will go on forever. And watch the Dog Days reel.
Oh man. So it's called Dog Days?
Yep, Dog Days.
All right. I hope all of our listeners are. So if you go to either one of these places,
Backwater Jacks.
Backward Jacks or Dog Days,
Yep.
tell them the From the Shadows guys sent them, and maybe we'll get a holy crap. Dog Days Bar and Grill in Osage Beach. What on earth? That place is huge. Wow. So that's just nothing but a party all the time.
That's where my son lives. I mean, that's where my son works. Dog Days.
The one that's in the military?
No, my young one, my 16-year-old.
That's where
He works there busting tables. Yeah.
All right, man. All right.
It's very competitive. So if you want to work there, you got to start young. And then by the time you're in college, those guys really make the coin. You know what I mean? Wait tables, stuff like that.
So you got to start busting tables before you get to.
Yeah, a lot of those kids, like his manager went to school with my oldest boy that's in the military. Yeah, you know what I mean? So who's going to, I'm trying to remember where he's going to school at. The kid that waited on the table is going to school at Mizzou. And yeah, they just come down here and work the summers, 7 days a week all summer.
Listen, if I was in college, it would look like a fun place to be hanging out, working. I would imagine. Yeah. Huh. Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. How did we even get on that? Backwater Jacks. Yeah. Hot tub club.
The hot tub club.
Yeah. There's not hot tubs because it's 100. It's 100. Now, my brother likes going to Coconuts. Now, I don't care much for it, but.
What's wrong with Coconuts?
Well, first of all, it's hard to get to some of these.
Are they more for people on boats than they are for people in cars?
Yeah. So that's my point. Like from his house, he's got a house on 4 mile marker. He gets on his jet ski or his boat and he just crosses, a mile and a half across the lake or wherever he's there. Where you've got, some of them, I've got to drive 7, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes down these crooked ass lake roads, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To get down there to it because there's only one bridge across the whole lake in 90 miles,
And anybody that's driving around the lake knows how to drive because they're all
Ubers from out of town.
Yeah, they're all. The other thing happening here is the fair starts tomorrow. So
you got your camper set up there ready to go?
I took it Thursday night, set it up.
Go?
It's all right. I drove Christy's truck. I took it up with Christy's truck. It's much better taking the camper up with her truck than it is my Suburban. I will say that. And
your truck should be a lot more powerful than an F-150.
My Suburban sits up so high that it drags. It pushes it down so much.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It doesn't do a good job. It's not what it's really made for.
Efficient.
Yeah, it's not. And the other good part is that Christy was still working at home when I took it up, so I pulled it right in and dropped it. There wasn't.
There you go.
The old, hey, move that over here 6 inches. It's, her dad walked over from the fair office and he goes, it looks pretty good. So then I just got to blame him if it wasn't to her liking. And boom, I set it up, plugged in the electric. Her brother camps in right beside us. And I guess he hooked up the water today because they didn't want me to hook it up Thursday. And sounds like there's some trouble with the water. So I dodged that. In
your camper? Or
yeah.
The fairgrounds?
No, in the camper. And of course, those camper, like in our camper, the knobs go opposite of the way they should.
Yes, I know how you.
And it's just dumb. And so my Izzy's in there trying to figure it out on the phone. And we're like, listen, just take a deep breath. You got to go opposite. Well, and then I just screwed in the plug for the hot water heater. And I just screwed it in so that it was
Hand tight.
hand tight as I drove it up there. I didn't know that I wasn't going to be there for.
So then they loaded up and it started dripping.
And it just comes out of the, so. And of course, that plug is in there where you can't even, like, is yours on the side where it's.
No, mine comes right out the outside.
Well, ours is
from the outside. You open the little metal thing, and
yeah, but the plug is in there behind a sheet of metal and behind some stuff. I can't even get my hand in there to do, and you can't get a wrench in there to tighten it. I mean, you literally got to put a wrench on, and you get to turn it like a quarter turn. Then you got to take it off. And
can't you put a ratchet wrench on there and zip?
Nope, it's a big plastic plug. So
I'd take that fucker out and put brass on it. Beat that.
It's a pain in the neck. I've nicked my knuckles up more than once on that metal thing, but it's in there.
What were we going to talk about tonight? I thought you had something for us to talk about.
We've talked for a half hour already about stuff. But I did want to say that, and we talked a little bit about, I sat down last week and watched a couple classic movies that if our listeners, if you're still listening, if our listeners want to catch a couple on Netflix before they go off, Rear Window and The Man Who Knew Too Much by Alfred Hitchcock. Excellent movie. Rear Window was a feat of filmmaking in my book because it's all shot from Jimmy Stewart's apartment. I mean, it's amazing. And it's one of those where I think a lot of people could relate to because he's stuck in a chair with a broken leg and he's in the backside of 4 apartments in New York City. So all I can do is sit there and just look at what everybody else is doing. And it draws him into the middle of maybe a murder across the way. So it's super interesting. The other thing is Grace Kelly is his girlfriend.
Right.
Grace Kelly she
was a looker.
I mean, she is.
God rest her soul.
Yeah, she was. I had never seen her in anything.
Oh, let me tell you, my favorite Grace Kelly movie is with oh shoot, keep talking and I'll tell you what it is.
Well, the funny thing is so in this movie, I mean, Grace Kelly's probably only 23 or 4, and Jimmy Stewart's in his 40s at least.
To Catch a Thief.
To Catch a Thief. Okay.
It was a year after that, 1955.
Okay. And so
she's with hold on, I'll tell you who she's with.
Who's she with in To Catch a Thief?
It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie too?
To Catch a Thief is?
That's what it says. Cary Grant, Grace Kelly.
Cary Grant. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I didn't realize that. Alfred Hitchcock. Okay, finish what you're gonna say, and we'll swing back around to this.
But it was funny, number one, that you could imagine Jimmy Stewart in real life ever dating, ever getting
something like that.
Yeah,
Grace Kelly.
She was absolutely beautiful. She was beautiful, and I mean, I was
able to score one of the richest men in the world.
Listen, more power to him, man. He didn't he give up the throne?
I don't remember all that. I think you're thinking about the German guy that married the Nazi, but that's okay. Royalty in Ohio is few and far between.
But we are the home of the wet rub, so there you go. So
right.
To catch
royalty and wet rub, you're all the same, right?
Protect your crown, man. Protect your crown.
That's right. At all costs.
Did you say at all sauce or all costs?
Both.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out. Go!